Hello, third graders. Our lesson for today is about types of soil. Now, let's start by showing you some pictures of the three main kinds of soil. Now, the three main kinds of soil are sand, silt, and clay soil. Now I got you pictures. I want you to notice that the particles in sand soil. Now this is a close-up, right? The particles of the sandy soil, they are the biggest, and the particles in the silt soil are smaller than the particles of the sandy soil, and the particles in the clay soil are the smallest. Now here they got you I got you a picture of as a close-up of the particles. Now I want you here to notice again that there are big spaces between the particles of the sandy soil, which means that this kind of soil, the sandy soil, it helps water and air move freely between the particles. Now, as the particles go smaller in size, there will be less spaces between the particles for the water and the air to pass through. Even in the clay soil, it is the hardest kind of soil for water and air to pass through. Now, let's start by discussing each kind aside. Let's start with the sandy soil. Now, the sandy soil, as we said, it has the bigger or the biggest particles, and it cannot fit, they cannot fit closely together, the particles. So there are large spaces between them, and these spaces are filled with air. Therefore, in this kind of soil, the sandy soil, water absorption is very high, as the water passes quickly through these spaces, so it doesn't hold a lot of water. And in these soils, they are light and they dry up quickly. Okay, so that's it for the sandy soil. Now, in the silt soil, it is more fertile because it holds more nutrients, and that's because the particles are closer together, and it is light, and it retains moisture. It means it holds more water than the sandy soil because its particles are smaller, and it's easily compacted. Yeah, I mean that you can press it more easily than the sandy soil. In the clay soil is made up of very small particles, and because of the particles, the size, the water it is trapped in the tiny gaps between them, and the clay soils are heavy and they hold more water. And in the winter, they are wet and cold, and in the summer, they are dry. Now, if you mix all of the three kinds of soil, the sand and silt and clay, you're gonna have the mixture is called loam soil. And loam soil is a mixture of all of these kinds of soils, the sand and silt and clay, and the particles are present. They contain a lot of humus and is therefore considered the best for the growth of plants. Okay, now I got to hear the picture of the particles again as a wrap up for you to see that the particles in the sandy soil are the biggest and the spaces between them are bigger, which means they don't hold water and they let a lot of air pass between the particles. In the silt soil, the particles are smaller and the spaces are smaller between the particles. In the clay soil, the particles are super duper small, and they don't let a lot of water to pass through, and they don't let the air move between the particles. And the combination of the three kinds, which is the loam, is a very good kind of soil because it contains the whole combination of kinds of soil. Now, soil and crop, and I mean plants, they complete each other. And different kinds of plants, they can grow in different kinds of soils. So if a plant needs to grow in a dry place and it doesn't need a lot of water, so it will need sandy soil. But if the plant needs a lot of water and needs a lot of wetness, it will need clay soil because the clay soil can hold a lot of water. But most plants can grow in loam soil because, it's a mixture of the three kinds, and that's it. So that's it for today. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.